Philadelphia Eagles have made 11 total signings over the past 2 weeks of the NFL free agency period. Let's rank all of them from A to E, the best to worst. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Wednesday. Philadelphia has been way more busy in the NFL free agency period through the first real week and a half than anybody expected. Remember that famous clip of Adam Schefter saying, the Eagles are going to lose everybody over the first couple of days? Well, that did not turn out to be true, so I decided let's look at all 11 signings, whether they were internal people being re-signed or external people coming into Philadelphia, and rank them using tiermaker.com. You guys know I love this website. Let's just jump right in and have some fun. Okay, let's do, how about least important ones? The ones that I'm least impressed with so far that are going to be down at the bottom. Now, I don't want to throw any shade to Ben Toth, but the Ben Toth signing here is not necessarily anything special. He's got backup offensive lineman. Sure, it adds some depth, but it's not like the Eagles are getting some sort of starter quality guy who's going to make an instant impact, so he goes down here to the D tier. I think you got to make the same case for the safety that they just signed. Justin Evans he's not starting. There's no way he's going to be a starting safety for the Philadelphia Eagles. I know he had a really, really good first, 2 years in the National Football League, but 3 years out with the Achilles injury, you kind of have to go, what are we doing here? Now, depth is always fine. It's obviously a weaker position right now after losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and so you get the signing. I'm not going to poo-poo the signing, but the idea that this is like a C signing or a B signing or an A-plus signing is ridiculous. Philadelphia has more safety moves up their sleeve right now. Howie Roseman is going to do something else, whether it's Kevin Byard, whether it's Brian Branch, whether it's someone else, Adrian Amos. Like, they're going to go out and make another move, and so we got to put the kind of backups and depth guys who are going to be on special teams and way behind other starters in the depth chart at the bottom first. I think they go down here to be a D move. Okay, I want to keep going here and obviously put one of the easy A's, re-signing Jason Kelce. I mean, what do you want me to say here, right? This is obviously a great move. I'm not going to try to be dramatic and say, well, it's not that important. It's a B. It's an A move. It's Jason Kelce. It's the best center in the National Football League, first ballot Hall of Famer, and probably the greatest Eagle of all time, right up there with Brian Dawkins, based on a recent Twitter poll I saw. So A move overall for Jason Kelce. Now, I think it gets a little bit tricky here. I think Greedy's a C. I think you could make an argument that Greedy's a D, just because he is a corner, but if they have some sort of either slot play in mind for him or really converted safety play in mind for him, very similar in size-wise to what Jalen Mills was, you went from corner to safety for Philadelphia, this makes a lot more sense. But Greedy right now is a corner, and right now was a depth signing, so we can't really give him anything special in terms of the ranking. I think that this is a very, very good young guy who never really panned out in Cleveland, who has a chance to kind of revamp his career in Philadelphia sort of signing, and that's fine, but it's not like we're putting him a lot higher than that. The same goes for Marcus Mariota. I think if Philadelphia had more draft picks this year, they would have drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson or one of the other mobile late-round quarterbacks in the draft this year, and been very, very happy with that. But they only have 5. 3 in the first 3 rounds, and then 2 in the 7th round. Obviously, they can make trades. But as of right now, a 7th-round quarterback, I think, is be a little bit too inexperienced to come in. If Jalen Hurts has another shoulder situation, he's out for a couple weeks like he was this past year. At least Mariota walks in and gives you the ability to be a starter, the knowledge of being a starter. He's not going to pull a Nick Foles and win a Super Bowl with you, but the roster offensively is good enough for him to come in and win you some football games. And so I'm not freaking out about it, but overall, it's a pretty darn good move. Now, as we keep going here, it gets a little bit trickier where to put these players. I think Bradberry is the A signing of the 2 cornerbacks. That's nothing against Darius Slay. It was a little dramatic over the past couple of days whenever that was going down. But Bradberry coming back, not just because he had a fantastic year last year, and I know we think about the Super Bowl and the holding call, but look back at his entire year. He was the number 2 highest grade cover corner in the National Football League, and his contract is an absolute beauty. I mean, the way it stacks out over the next couple of seasons, very cheap. I think it's a little bit heavy, but still leaves room to be cut. The dead cap and this and that. It's a really, really good move. I think that really was the best re-signing out of all of them, Kelce aside, because Kelce, I think, was always going to come back, but I think he goes there. I think Slay's a B. I think the drama was a little bit much for me. I think that Slay, due to the age, is a little bit of a concern. Now, I was very much pro bringing back Darius Slay. Don't get me wrong here, but it's not an A signing just because he's 32 years old and he's still pretty darn expensive. And again, the whole whirlwind we were sent on of, is he going to be traded? Oh, no, he's going to be cut. Oh, he's going to be re-signed, was a little bit too much drama for my taste. But he still is obviously a great player, and keeping both of them together is fantastic for Philadelphia. So it's arguably an A move, but I think a B move is just fine. Now, I put Rashad Penny as an A move, and now this can be a little bit dramatic here. I'm trying not to be hot takey because I do truly believe this. I think Penny can come in, and if he's healthy, he's exactly what all Eagle fans have been wanting since LeGarrette Blount left. He's physical, he's fast, and he has a nose for the end zone. I think that the Rashad Penny signing for pennies on the dollar, no pun intended, makes way more sense than what the Carolina Panthers gave Miles Sanders. Now, if Penny gets hurt, then obviously this is like useless, and the Eagles are going to be in need of a running back. But the fact they got Rashad Penny, Boston Scott, who I'll rank here in just 1 second, and Kenny Gainwell, all for under $5 million, it's a pretty darn good deal for Philadelphia from a running back perspective, and still leaves room for Trey Sermon possibly to be elevated at some point if he were to finally figure out how to be starting running back in the National Football League, or they wanted to draft somebody. I think Boston Scott comes up here to the B tier just for the price, and I think that you get 2 free Giants victories every single year when Boston Scott is an Eagle, and I like the fact that they were taking care of one of their own guys who, I mean, let's be honest here, should not even be in the league based on where he was, not drafted, undrafted, coming in and trying to, work his way up to being a starting running back. When he fills in, he does a good job, sure-handed, never fumbles. I mean, props to Boston Scott for being a true Eagle and, only costing less than, $1.5 million. These 2 remaining ones are extremely hard to rank, and I love BG, and I went on yesterday and said the Morrow signing was pretty darn good, but I do wonder where to put these 2, and I would love your thoughts on the ranking system down below in the comment section. I think BG's a B. I think age is obviously always a concern. That's why I put Darius Slay here as well. And I know BG came off his best year as an Eagle and double-digit sacks and came off the Achilles tear, but he still gets 1 year older. And every single season that you get 1 year older is one more year where you could kind of fall off the cliff and Father Time catches you. It happens to every single NFL player. And so my hope is this is not BG's year to fall off a cliff. My hope is BG comes back for this one last year. If he gets anything more than 7 sacks, it'll be considered a massive success, and he leads Philadelphia to a Super Bowl. That's the hope. But the fear is he kind of falls off a little bit and then gets to a situation where he, doesn't produce as much. Maybe he gets hurt. Maybe he gets, overplayed by some other younger guys on the team. That's the fear with BG in terms of that total context. Now, I am noticing that Fletcher Cox's picture did not appear, and I'm not sure why Fletcher Cox's picture didn't appear. I would move Fletcher Cox's to the B as well. I know people are going to be like, why isn't he on here? Well, he was, and then TierMaker decided to delete it, so what are you going to do? But Cox, obviously, is the other player on this list who was re-signed. People really like to complain about the re-signing of Fletcher Cox, and $10 million is so much money. Well, there's some incentives built in there, and do you realize that Fletcher Cox is one of the top 5 still pass-rushing D tackles in the National Football League? Jordan Davis is not a pass-rushing defensive tackle. Fletcher Cox is, and while you still get run support from him, he comes up the gut and gets pressure up the middle, and he had more sacks than, 27 or 25, I think it was 27 of the other top defensive tackles in the National Football League, and so he still can ball. Now, the age factor does not put him on the A tier. I think the age factor is kind of the issue here with both him and BG and Darius Slay, and obviously we're going to talk about that on our Wednesday live link tonight with Josh Davis, who has a show out on his channel, the Philly Special Show, talking about how he signed a lot of older guys, and people are criticizing for that. And so you can't put the old guys on the A tier just because at any point Fletcher Cox could fall off a cliff and be terrible, but he was pretty good last year despite not getting a lot of love from many Eagle fans when they re-signed him. Now, Morrow is the hardest one to rank here. Honestly, the hardest one to rank. I don't know, because you can make an argument that, oh, well, he's unproven, he's still really young. Is he really going to be your starting middle linebacker? D tier. Then you can also make the argument, well, he had a really good season last year, really flew under the radar, and perhaps could be a tackling machine behind this defensive line, put him in the A tier. And that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm leaning more towards liking the Morrow signing than not liking the Morrow signing. And I think what Philadelphia has done at the linebacker spot is continue to emphasize age and the young abilities of these fast guys who can run sideline to sideline and who can go plug holes and find gaps that are created by the defensive line. Jordan Davis, that's your entire job. Take up 2 defenders, create a hole that your linebacker can run through and make a tackle, and that's what they got in Morrow as a tackling machine. He's way younger than Bobby Wagner and way cheaper than him as well. Him plus Nakobe Dean plus the combination, if you need it, of Davion Taylor or Sean Bradley, I think is going to be just fine. I like the signing a lot, mainly because it was so under the radar. No one in Eagle Land Well, the entire National Football League was talking about this kid, and yet he had a very good season last year, over 120 tackles, and I think can come in and be a lot better starter than people realize. I think he pretty much plugs the Eagles' holes. He's everything TJ Edwards was last year, just for a lot cheaper, and obviously the Bears decided to pay T.J. Edwards over him. So I think that it's an A move, and I think one of the underrated moves that Philadelphia had overall. Now, obviously, this is all subjective. You can give me your argument down below right now, but I do think that C and D tiers are 100% accurate. It's the A and B tiers that you really got to kind of think about, right? Like, what are we doing in terms of Slay? Is he worth being an A, or is he going into a C? Do you put Boston Scott as a C? I'm going to be looking at all of your guys' ranking systems, and you can go to this website. This is like a created thing on tiermaker.com. Link down below in the description box, and do this yourself. You can tweet me your exact picture and DM me on Twitter at RealThomasMott if you want. Okay, Wednesday Link Live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, obviously getting more entries into our jersey giveaway. You can find out how tonight during the show. Pop in, say hi, ask your questions, hang out with myself and Josh Davis. It is going to be a lot of fun. I'm Thomas Mott, ranking some fun free agent signings today. Hopefully there are more to come. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.